Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Archery Project. We officially have a name. It's been the show forever. It is officially titled the Archery Project now. So where we discuss all things archery, bow hunting in the industry. Today, welcome back, JR.
Hello. Hey guys.
Everyone knows JR, one of our head techs here at Extreme Outfitters, my, right-hand man, I think, at this point. Kind of do everything together. Best friends.
Yeah. It's been a fun journey.
It has been a fun journey. That's one of the things I've covered quite a bit in some of our social stuff, man, is kind of reflecting on us as a brand. And, it's been a short 7 years, but we're getting ready to go on a cool trip again. We've got 2 of them lined up this year. We're talking about the Total Archery Challenge this year, what it's like, how to prepare for it, and kind of what you can expect. And JR has more experience at TAC than any of us here at the shop. He was one of the first to go. So that's what we're covering today. JR, how are you?
Good. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely, man. It's gotten better, especially fun since our first one that me and you did together.
Yes.
It's evolved.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been another fun thing to watch evolve and just be part of a journey with it. So it's been a blast, man.
It's been a blast, man. Yeah, I appreciate you, taking the time, coming in 2 minutes late.
Yeah, I know. I said one of those mornings, kids not wanting to be kids this morning, just acting up, like with my son, because he just had the stitches. He was freaking out about those this morning because it was like oozing again, and it wasn't feeling right on him. So we were fighting with him on that. So
that's funny. Stitches has been a part of your week. The last, I guess, 7 to 10 days. Your son, then Corey came in, cut his hand off almost,
cut his finger off.
Yeah,
right down the middle. I guess he had to get 6 stitches. So
yeah, had a fun time. Got to be careful with those knives, especially those Essie knives, Corey. They're sharp. Yeah. All right, JR. So let's get into it, man. We're talking about Total Archery Challenge. Obviously, last year was our first year together as a company there. We went to Total Archery Seven Springs up in Pennsylvania. And this year we're covering 2 of them. We're doing the Tennessee and we're also doing Seven Springs. But I wanted to talk to you about it and kind of get some insight from your experience. So the first one you did was, I think, Seven Springs a couple years back.
Yes. That was when Dane was working here. We went with his family up there. It was a very short trip because we only shot one day, one course, and then we had to drive all the way back the next day. So it was a very short trip, but it was still a blast.
So Total Archery Challenge, can you describe it to someone who's never been? Like, what are you expecting? What is it all about?
So it's really about going out there, having a bunch of your buddies if you can go out, and just building camaraderie between you and your buddies, and even some other shooters sometimes. Just going out there, mingling with other archers to have fun on a course. A lot of them have a bunch of different courses as well. So, and it's all challenging shots. Some of them are very challenging.
It's a little different than what your standard. I mean, I think Total Archery has really, in my opinion, revived some of the 3D style shooting, right? It's completely different than any of your ASA or IBO stuff. You're not going there for a score. You're, like you said, you're going there to shoot a course with friends, have a good time, challenge yourself. And when you go there, there's multiple courses set up. So it's not just a one and done. You've got, like, PA, for example, 3 or 4 days.
Right. 4 days at the PA one. And I think there's like 7 or 8 different courses that you could shoot. The only downside is you have to get knock times for all of them. But what they do is really cool, because if you stay there long enough, or if you get an early morning knock time, they will let you go back out in the afternoon. So you can shoot 2 courses in a day if you're able to.
Yeah. I know some dudes who are doing like 3 courses in a day, which is pushing it, because the courses they're long. I mean, and all the places that they set these up are, incredible just venues, right? I mean, from the landscape, the way they set up the courses, it's fun, man. It's challenging. I mean, you got some long shots.
Right. And with that too, you don't have to take those long shots. They do have cones where you shoot from, but if you don't feel comfortable shooting from there, you can move up. So always remember that, guys, too.
Yeah. So definitely a good time. So somebody who's first going to the event, is there anything that you weren't prepared for whenever you went, or something that kind of caught you off guard?
Nothing really caught me off guard. It's just really the biggest thing is making sure your tapes are correct. We did notice that the first year I went, our tapes were a little bit off, so we had to adjust for that a little bit. But all in all, it was not that bad. If you're going to one that has more mountainous, like PA, there's a lot of hills. You are in the mountains with that. Try to prepare your body, because going up and down hills, some of those are pretty steep elevation changes. So always remember that, and then always bring good boots, good socks. That's really my biggest advice for somebody going.
Yeah, you're covering a lot of ground for sure. I know when we went last year, me and Brian, you were running the booth, and me and Brian went out and we shot the Jack Links course. And I did not confirm my sight. A big mistake, a rookie mistake, right? I was like, we slapped it back on after travel. It's good to go. First shots, like 100 and something yards on a Sasquatch, Bigfoot. It was not good. You hear Joey in the video, you bushed it. Completely missed left of the target. And I had to spend the next like 5 or 7 targets, reconfirming my sight housing and everything and get everything back on. So they have practice courses there, which are actually really cool courses too, that are set up on the side of the mountain. Lots of different animals. I would definitely highly encourage you to reconfirm your sight after travel.
Correct.
So going back, like I said, these are all over the nation, right? From East Coast to West Coast, they're all over. And obviously us being here on the East Coast, we do more of the East Coast ones. That's primarily our focus. When we talk about it, and you hinted on it a little bit, the terrain, for us, we're going from sea level.
Right.
You go up to PA and it is not sea level. It is in the mountains. Like you said, the terrain it's tough.
Yes, some of them, it's a very steep angle. Some of them were like 30-degree shots, if I remember right from my rangefinder. So definite big change for us. Yeah, which is really cool though. Which made it fun, right? Because it's so unique because we don't get the opportunity to shoot anything like that, right? Yeah, we can stretch our bows out here with some of the shoots that we do with our novelty stuff and our 3D and really shoot 100+ yards. But you don't get that terrain feature and elevation changes like you do whenever you go to some of these events. Like you were talking about, there are some incredibly steep angles, both uphill and downhill that you're shooting. Right. And I think it's in Tennessee, there's one where you're almost like straight up vertically, like almost 90 degrees taking a shot at an animal. And there's a meme that went around for quite a few years. There's a guy, he was taking the shot, and right after he shot, he just dropped his bow. It went right out of his hand and went tumbling down. That's a bad time. Maybe it might be a good idea to take 2 bows with you if you're that guy. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So it's definitely challenging. It's unique. And that's one of the things too, you're talking about footwear, right? You're covering so much ground. I think it's important that you have good broke-in boots, that you're not buying brand new there and then throwing them on and trying to cover it because, like for example, the Jack Links course, I mean, it was just constantly uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill in this big loop. And I mean, there's a lot of rocky, loose soil. So, footing and everything's important. Even with taking your shot, right? It's not all perfectly flat, level ground that you're shooting from. Right. And another factor of that is making sure your sight is leveled correctly too. Because once you start stretching out those distances, plus adding the angles in, if your second, third axis is off, you're going to be missing. You're going to have a bad time. Yep. Yeah, I would agree. Make sure I would probably encourage anybody that's going to some of these events, have a once over on your bow. Just because you're taking the time to go out there, right? To make sure the bow's in tune, make sure it's timed. And then, you make a really good point, making sure those sight is, all your axes are leveled. Correct. Yeah. Yep. And then another thing is make sure you have enough arrows. So normally when I go, I take about 18 arrows. That's normally enough because, especially with us running the boost, we're not going to be able to probably shoot as much. Right. But, if you're going out there for all 4 days, you're going to shoot 1 or 2 courses a day, I would probably look at maybe bringing 2 to 3 dozen arrows. Yeah. Don't worry if you don't have arrows. If you're at the Tennessee or Seven Springs one, we'll be there. We've got you covered. We'll have a bunch of arrows for sale. But that's a great point because, it's funny. We had guys coming up that were buying. I think there was some dude that bought like 3 dozen. Yeah, he bought 3 dozen. And lost a majority of them. Yeah. So, I would encourage you to practice a little bit before you head out there because, again, the shots are challenging. And they're unique. Like I said, that's one of the things, keep going back to it. Your footing and everything is not perfect. Sometimes you're standing off, uneven terrain. You're shooting in one of the courses, like the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation course. It was really wet and slippery. Yes. And there was like little bits of creek running through there that you're standing on. So just a bunch of different things to consider when going. As far as it's obviously it's fun, right? But do you think it has any carryover to the actual bow hunting side of things? Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree it does. It's a great way to kind of get yourself ready for the next hunting season because, they run from March all the way till, I think, August, all these events. Obviously, that's not that's nationwide for that. They kind of hit the East Coast first, then they're going to go, it's more Midwest, then kind of East Coast, then they go out West for the finals out there. Yeah, it's just another way to hone your skills so that way you can become a better archer when you're out in the woods.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing about it is none of the shots are, and we talk about the challenge, but none of them are give me shots, right? You're shooting over, logs. I mean, they hide them right behind there where your arrow drops right in. I mean, there's brush you have to be conscious of. The targets are not always fully exposed. So there's a lot of things to consider, which gives you more of that realistic feel when you're out in the woods actually bow hunting.
Right. It's almost setting you up for some like scenarios for hunting scenes. Cause sometimes you get it with the cone and you have to scan for where the target is.
Yeah. You have to find it.
Sometimes you'll see where all the arrows are in the trees and logs and stuff, but yeah, it's like I said, it's a great time and it's a great way to really hone your skills.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely unique. And I think because we always encourage guys like, hey man, we're big on shooting your bow all year. And this makes the off season fun. It gives you something to look forward to, not only going and shooting the course, but the camaraderie that comes along with it and the people that you meet, right? Because these events, they're huge. Guys are coming from all over. We met guys from Canada,
right?
All over the country, out of the country that came to travel to these things. And, with one thing in common, they like shooting a bow and they like bow hunting.
Yep, absolutely. And it's a great way to also network. Lots of vendors are there at all the events, and it's just a great way to meet a bunch of awesome people.
It is. That's cool. So like you're talking about the vendors there, they have their vendor village, which obviously PA is one of the bigger ones on the East Coast. That's why we go and set up at it. It's really cool, man, because you get like first eyes on some of the new product out there. You can actually get stuff in your hand because not everybody has a great bow shop, right, that they can go to and check out all the latest and greatest gear because some of it's really high-end stuff.
Right.
And that's what's cool about it, right? You got the vendors there that you can actually go and play with some of the stuff, check it out. And I know some of the vendors even allow guys to test the stuff like range finders, binos. You can actually rent them out, run a course, and then return them afterwards to get a feel for them.
Right. And one thing that I thought was really cool is last year there was a guy with a Bowtech. It blew up on him. The Bowtech guys had a bow there. They let him set it up and they let him shoot it on a course. Yes. So that was really cool of them to do.
Absolutely. Shout out to Jamie and Bowtech, man. Bowtech did a phenomenal job. They're always looking out for guys there. They've got a good booth set up. We'll actually be representing Bowtech and a couple other brands out at Tennessee and I believe PA as well. And PA will definitely be, our focus will be Easton Arrows. And our brand, of course. But it's cool, man. All these companies come together just to support the bow hunters. And it's a unique experience with all the people that come out because it's, you're not just talking about pro target shooters. You're talking about your blue collar guys that want to come out and just enjoy shooting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. So looking at it, this year, obviously every year we have different bows that we build because that's what we do. What are you looking at this year as far as your bow build for this event?
So I'm going to be bringing the Expedition X-Lite 32. That's what I'm shooting this year.
So what kind of drew you to that bow?
Well, it was unique because it's a new bow. I actually shot Expedition bows. I think it was the first year we went to TAC at Pennsylvania. They had their trail up there. I was shooting some of the bows. I liked how they felt. I'm trying to remember which ones it was. It was the MX series, I think is what they had then. And I even brought it up to you when we came back about Expedition. But the price point is a little bit higher,
right?
Especially with that the magnet riser. It does increase the cost a little bit, but the finishes on them are awesome. I do like how the bow holds. Because I've been shooting a little bit, like I was just shooting last night again, trying to get my sight tape confirmed for everything. And shooting at 60 yards, we even had a little bit windier of a day yesterday, and I was still shooting really good with it. So I just honestly can't miss with that bow is what it feels like.
Yeah, we just put a video out on that. That was the title. I can't miss with this bow.
Yep.
Which, so is there anything special that you do for your bow specifically for TAC, or do you just run it like you would for a normal hunting? Do you change out bars? Do you change out sights?
I try to keep it as much to a hunting setup as possible. One thing I'm kind of playing around with the bow still, though, is it is a little bit lighter of a setup. So I am possibly looking at throwing a back bar on just to get a little bit more weight, or maybe throwing a little bit more ounces up front on the front bar. But all in all, generally speaking, no, I don't do anything crazy special. I do normally run a little bit lighter of an arrow just because I want to have that speed to be able to make those long shots and have enough clearance with my sight.
That makes sense. So And that's one of the cool things about this event too, is like you see most guys coming, they're running their bow hunting setup, right? So it's not, you don't see from what I noticed, you don't see a lot of target bows there. We saw a handful,
right?
But it was pretty much, it was guys running their hunting rigs. And that was one of the questions that we get from people. It's like, well, is my bow capable, to shoot this thing? And it absolutely is. Even, I mean, like you said, you can walk up, shoot closer if your sight tape doesn't go out that far. But I mean, that's what it's designed around, I think, is the guys that, run what you brung. You've got to build something specific for it.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of the courses are tailored to, like you're talking about, like Sitka course, that one's tailored to the guys that are out west hunting. So a way to test your equipment and yourself and some of the shots that you could expect to see out west.
Yeah, that's what's neat, because there's so many different courses, right? And they're all themed or sponsored by, a brand or something like that. Like the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation course, incredible course, all elk. And we're talking about some bomber shots, some really technical shots. I mean, you can expect to really stretch your bow out. And then you go to something like we did the Ultra View course, very technical.
Right.
The targets were small, the distances, 70 yards on little bitty coyotes and stuff like that. They're all different and unique, which makes it fun. So you're not going to go from course to course to course expecting the same thing. They're all going to be different and set up pretty strategically.
Right.
Yeah. Super cool, man. So what about as far as your arrow setup? I personally like to run, again, something a little bit lighter just because I want to get a little bit more distance out of my bow. So I run, 400 to 440 grain arrow typically, which is not a lot lighter than my hunting arrow, but it is a little bit, 20 to 40 grain difference. What about you? Do you have an arrow weight in mind, or is it just based off what the speed that you get out of the bow?
I'd like to be over 300 feet per second. Last year, my arrows were about 450. This year, they're like 443. So I did build up some of the 5.0s. I got a 300 spine. I cut my arrows to 29 inches carbon to carbon. I threw in a 55 grain match grade half out system for the 5 mils. I threw on some air razors on the back with a wrap. So my total arrow was coming in at 442, I think it was.
Interesting. Yeah. The 5.0, again, hot topic, super popular arrow. It's going to be a great arrow for the Total Archery Challenge, along with the Victory HLR.
Yes.
In my opinion, those are probably going to be the two most popular arrows that we see. One, because they're new, and two, just based off the GPIs alone, they're a great build for something you're looking to stretch out.
Yes. I was going to run a little bit different last year, but so I was getting ready for an elk hunt last year. So I did have a lot heavier of an arrow that I built for my hunting setup. So I didn't run those because those were like 540 something grains. So I wasn't going to run those out there.
Yeah. That's heavy, man.
Yeah.
Especially for a tack event. Yeah. Very cool. So, if you're going into it, you're new to it, and you're going to be out on the course all day, maybe you're running 2, maybe you get the opportunity to shoot 3 courses in a day. What's your pack look like? Like, what gear do you have on you? What are you toting around on the course?
So I normally bring a day pack. I'll have some rain gear in there just in case it does rain, which, I try to look at the forecast. Normally the forecast is pretty good for that area, not here where it can change 20 minutes later.
Gosh, yeah.
Definitely bring lots of water. So I'll bring a Camelback, probably an Nalgene just as well, because I do like to drink a lot of water. I do have some first aid stuff just in case, because I have fallen on the course before. I know a couple of the guys have too. So if you get any cuts, scrapes, bruises, anything, have something to kind of fix yourself up with that. And other than that, I think that's really it.
Yeah, I'm similar. I like to keep it pretty simple. I'll carry some extra water on me. I do like, instead of running my arrows on my bow, I like running them in my pack and like a little quiver there. Just makes it a little bit easier toting that bow around. Last year I shot the PSE Evolve 33 and I did not run a quiver on the bow. I ran it all in my pack. And then again, same thing too, water, some electrolytes, because some of the days were a little bit warm. So, running through the mountain, once you get in the woods, it's not bad, but, just staying hydrated, taking a couple snacks. And that's really about it for me, man. I think some guys found out pretty quick that they overdid it, because you're walking a course, it, take a couple hours. There were some guys that were toting around. They had full on, and to each their own, they had full loaded like meat hauling packs,
right?
Which is kind of cool. Maybe simulate your training a little bit, throw a ruck on your back, hump the mountain, shoot a bow, makes it fun. But there were some guys carrying around some big old packs around there with a lot of gear.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a great way to get some training in, especially if you're planning to go out west. You throw a pack on with just 30 pounds, and we can get a little bit of training in.
Yeah, not a bad idea. You're covering a lot of miles, man, especially depending on the terrain that you encounter. Is there any gear that you brought that you found out that you just didn't need? Did you overpack anything?
I think overpacking, I'd say probably not. I mean, we didn't need our rain gear last year, except for things the last day. It did rain a little bit when we did the Ultra View course, but it wasn't anything crazy.
Right.
And it did rain the day we came to set up. But other than that, no, I feel like I did pretty good on that. But I have gone for the last 4 years, so I think I'm able to kind of tailor that.
Yeah, I think we overpacked in terms of our booth.
We did, yeah. But I mean, first time going, we didn't really know what to expect being a vendor, so it was better to be over-prepared than under-prepared.
Yeah, we'll definitely be we'll scale it back a little bit this year, which I anticipate is PA's growing. From what I can tell, it seems like every year the events continue to get bigger and bigger. So we want to make sure we do have enough, product there to sell. I mean, Our focus obviously is arrows because that's what everybody's going through. Again, I don't think you can have. Well, I take that back. You can't have too many arrows. We saw it with some guys. Yeah. If you're running through 36 arrows, you might want to take a step back, reconfirm your bow on that practice site or practice range.
Yeah.
As someone that's never been to this or maybe new to the archery world, would you encourage them to go to Total Archery Challenge?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you love to shoot your bow, you love to bow hunt, it's a great time. Find one near you and just take the couple days, go have some fun.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's for everybody. You don't got to be an advanced or somebody that's been in the sport for a long time. If you're new to the game, it's a great opportunity, honestly, to go learn a lot too and talk to a lot of different people because everybody's super friendly. And again, you shoot the course at your own pace, right?
Right.
You don't have to step off and shoot those 114-yard shots. You can walk them up, shoot it, get familiar with your bow. It's only going to make you a better shooter.
Correct. And it's also a great way to bring your family too. So saw plenty of kids out there taking their bows, having fun. So it's a great way to get your family involved in it too.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of cool things going on outside of just the shooting, right? Again, the vendor village, but they have some different challenges that they do where you can like win trucks, win prizes, all kinds of stuff. So that's what makes it unique is, it's not just about shooting the course. It's all the other things happening within the event. I mean, you can spend all day out there and only shoot one course and do all kinds of cool stuff.
Absolutely. They also have like the after parties. I can't remember all the foundations, but there's like 4 different foundations that they do after parties for. So you can go out there. They also do giveaways and stuff there. So it's another just great way to get everybody involved.
Yeah, I agree. It's huge. I mean, I was honestly kind of overwhelmed when we got to Seven Springs with just how many people we saw through the event. Cause that's cool. That's what's cool for us, right? Is we get to go and we get to meet all these people. Cause with our company, Extreme Outfitters, we ship stuff nationwide. So we interact with a lot of people. We put out a lot of different content and a lot of different people follow our stuff. So, and they comment. And then when we actually see and read some of the comments, then we get to meet those people in real life who are from across the country. It's really a neat experience.
Yeah, it really is. It's very humbling too, just the amount of support that we've gotten. So it's awesome.
It is. The archery community is a pretty incredible community, in my opinion. Just a lot of really good people. With all different experiences, man, from all over the country. It's cool because we had, we've met guys up at Total Archery Challenge who made the trip down to come visit our shop from meeting us.
Yeah, and actually came twice.
Yeah. So very, very cool, man. A lot of fun. I definitely highly encourage anybody that's on the fence about it to go to one because it is unlike anything I've ever been to. I mean, it's massive. It's fun. It's challenging. You can really put your equipment to the test too and see just how tough and durable it is and, how good you are under a little bit of stress.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's as you stated before, it's just grown drastically. I remember the first year we went, there was only like 70 vendors. Last year, there was almost 100. Yeah. So it's grown a lot. Yeah.
I expect there to be more. I'm very hopeful. This is going to be our first year at Tennessee. And what I've heard is the Tennessee courses are super cool. The venue's a little bit different just because it's not at a resort. So I think it's all like campground style stuff.
Right. So, I haven't made it out to the Tennessee one yet, but That's what I've heard too.
Yeah, I've heard good stuff about it. It's cool because they've changed them up every year. I mean, they don't have Georgia this year. They brought Tennessee back. They've got West Virginia this year, which unfortunately we can't be at that one. I'm hoping that, again, as we continue to build through this, we're able to do more and more each year, based off our capability and the staffing that we've got. So definitely fun, man. Definitely unique. I would highly encourage you to go to one. And speaking of, I need to set my bow up for the event. We leave in 1 week, and I still do not have my new bow set up. So still kind of on the fence. I need to get it going. I think I'm going to run probably that Hoyt RX9 Ultra, something a little bit longer axle to axle. Like we do, we change bows pretty much every single year. And I haven't shot a Hoyt in a few years, and I'm excited to shoot the RX9 Ultra, just something a little bit different. Carbon bow. I've grown pretty fond of the carbon bows myself. And the only reason I'm not shooting an expedition is because you're shooting expedition, so I'm going to shoot something different. But yeah, I'm going to set that up, and I'm going to build it specifically for tack. I don't typically shoot that long of an axle to axle bow. I personally like 30 to 32 max for me, just because my draw length's a little bit shorter, 28.5 inches. But with this being a total archery event, I shot the Evolve 33 last year for it. I'm going to stick with that little bit longer axle to axle. For me, I'm a little bit more accurate at distance. I need all the help I can get.
Yep.
So I'm going to run that thing, and I think I'm going to set it up. I'm going to run my standard, man. I'm going to run a Hamsky rest on it. As far as sight goes, I'll probably go with that spot hog option.
The Booney.
The Booney, probably. I'm still torn. I'm not 100% on it. I just really like the spot hog stuff, and I know that, the total archery stuff, you can be pretty rough on your equipment, and the last thing I want is something that's not durable. So I like running the spot hog. Maybe a dialed sight. I don't know. Yeah. I'm still on the fence, man. But I am going to run probably a 3-pin, the slider sight option, and hopefully be able to get enough distance out of it with my draw length. I'll run a little bit lighter arrow, probably a Easton 5.0 like you. Yeah, we'll see.
Yep. We got HHA now, so that's another good option. That Nitrix.
I forgot. We literally got those in yesterday.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do something like that. One of the questions we got about sights, which reminds me, is pin size, right?
Yes.
What pin size do you guys run, or do you in particular run? And I know for me, I've always gravitated towards the 19,000s. I mean, no matter what I've done, I have never had an issue with the 19,000s not being able to see a target. I mean, I'll put it right on the target and had no problem. And I like it because, one, in your low light scenarios, you don't have any issue seeing it. And I don't run a sight that requires me to run a sight light.
Right.
I cannot stand a sight light. They die, they run out of battery. They're not reliable, in my opinion, most of them. So if I have to run a sight light in my sight, it's pretty much a no-go for me. I'll go to a completely different sight. And that's why I've always kind of gravitated towards that 19,000s pin. It's just big enough. It collects enough light, especially with your spot hogs, your black golds, even your dialed. You have the ability to kind of play with the cover on the scope, right, to let more light in on the fibers or not. Same thing with your Excels, like the rheostat, I think.
Yes.
Housings.
Yeah.
All really great options. But I did run this last year a dialed, what was it, the Arcos?
Arcos, yep.
Arcos, yeah, that sight. And I ran it with a 10,000 fiber pin, and I never had one issue with it at all. I could see it in all my low light hunting scenarios. It was fantastic. So I'm kind of on the edge, but I tend to gravitate towards the 19,000s just because they've tried and true. The pins are a little bit more durable, in my opinion, and they're very easy to pick up. 19,000s green fiber, my go-to.
Yep. Yes, very good. I normally run at 10,000s just because I do like to take a lot longer shots. I do a lot of long-range shooting just for practice because it really does help me kind of hone in those short-distance shots because it just feels like a little chip shot. So right, I like to practice a lot of long-distance shots starting 60 yards all the way out. However, I do have a little bit of astigmatism in my eyes, so once those pins get too big, I do get that starbursting, so that's why I like to also run in 10,000s with that.
That makes sense. That's a really good point. Do you notice more when you get to the smaller pin sizes that you notice more float?
I don't think so.
No? Okay, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things to each their own, right? I mean, right, what works best for you? Because everybody's vision's a little bit different. And like, for example, for you, a starbursting can be detrimental to somebody who has, any kind of issues with that, where it really blows that pin out.
Right, because I mean, even at like 30 yards, if I have a 19,000 spin, it can blow out the entire vitals. So that could be bad for me. Just make a bad shot too, then and end up winning animals, which nobody wants to do that. And I mean, it's going to happen. Obviously, in your bow hunting career, it's going to happen, and it's happened to the best of us. With that, with taking bad shots or just having an aired shot and just winning that animal. So try to take the steps to avoid that as much as possible.
Absolutely. And when it comes to you, are you running? So there's a lot of different pin configuration options, especially like back on the topic of tack. I mean, you know, you've got a single pin, you've got a double pin where you have the ability to, where you don't have the ability to adjust the distance, the gap between the pins. You've got the horizontal 3 pins, you've got a triple stack. Is there something that you gravitate towards specifically for tack?
For tack specifically, not really. I've ran all those configurations over my years of bow hunting. I don't mind a single pin for this style of shooting because it's more just target shooting. However, I want to keep it more towards my bow hunting setup. So I normally gravitate towards a 3 pin. I do like to be able to adjust my pins. So like the triple stack is a great option. Or I'm running the new proof sight from Dialed. So I'm running the horizontal 3 pin so I can actually adjust mine. Because on my Arxos, I had the vertical pins and those were fixed. So you'd have your fixed pins, so it'd be 20, 40 something, probably 60 something for your pin gap. I did like how I did have that pin gap, but I just like to be able to adjust it so I can have 20, 30, and 40.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of how I've been. That's why I like the Spot Hog stuff. I do like the triple stack with the ability to individually adjust your 3 pins. But again, I've been on the Dialed site where you don't, which is the 3 pin that is fixed. You can't adjust them. I've always kind of struggled getting that perfect gap. And you know, you brought up a really good point using micrometer. You can match them a lot easier. I have not taken the time to do that. So I was shooting the other day and I was using I don't ever use my bottom pin on it, right? I usually pretty much dial for my yardage or use the second, fiber, and I used the third one and it was not even close. So I was like, yeah, I guess I forgot to set the indicator for this pin. So I'm missing an arrow somewhere.
Yeah. I had one last night that I hit too low on my target. It's one of the Delta McKenzie ones that we had in, and it's right there where the leg comes into the body, and it's all plastic there. It's stuck in there. I can't get the arrow.
It's in there for life.
Probably.
Yep. No, seen that, done that myself too. But yeah, so I don't know this year. I keep going back and forth. I'm going to look at the HHA stuff now that you brought that up. Maybe run one of those and kind of figure out what pin configuration I want, since it's specific to this event. I don't know, man.
But I mean, just going back to that topic, I mean, I have plenty of guys that come in, they'll ask a question too. A lot of guys are particular on whether they want a vertical pin or horizontal pin. So for me, like I said, it doesn't really bother me that much because I can get enough time where I can get adjusted to it. So it's not a huge deal breaker for me on that.
Yeah, so for the longest time, I only liked horizontal pins. But the more I've got behind the vertical pin, the more I've really come to enjoy them just because I have, you know, visibility on both the left and right side. So when I'm looking at vitals on an animal, I feel like I've been a little bit more consistent maybe with it. But it's probably just honestly because I've kind of shot it more here recently and gotten used to it. Right.
And that's one thing I do like about the vertical pins. I mean, you can just basically put that right on that front leg of a whitetail,
right,
and just come straight up. And I mean, you're right there in that vital V.
That's it. The vital V.
Yep.
Everyone's looking for the vital V. All right, dude. So as far as your first experiences, I mean, how many arrows, what's the most amount of arrows you've lost at a course?
2.
Dude, that's doing something.
Yeah. That was the first shot was 100% me. I didn't dial the right yardage. Second shot, I didn't see there was a big rock covering kind of the vitals. I hit a little bit low, skipped right off that rock, and it was toast.
Done, sir, done. Yeah. So luckily, when I went last year, I didn't lose any arrows, which is surprising. The only reason I didn't lose them is because I found them.
Right.
So we were going back to that first course, the Jack Links course, getting that bow sighted back in. It was a struggle, man. But I'll tell you what, I shot the Easton Sonic 6.0s last year, and I can tell you that is a daggone durable shaft, man, because Joey watched me lob some arrows into the dirt and find it, and those things, no issues whatsoever. Still spun true. Just a good durable shaft, which I was a little worried about with that 6 mil diameter. but there was no issues. I've run the Access 5 mil forever, which everyone knows is a bulletproof shaft. And I went to that 6 mil for a little bit lighter and was thoroughly surprised just how tough and durable it ended up being.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I've done a little bit of playing with the 5.0s. I know there's been some people concerned about the durability on that. But like I said, that arrow, man, that's in that target. It smacked super hard. It's still alive. I just got to get it out somehow.
You just have to lay the target on the side, stand
I tried that.
No, it's in there.
Yeah,
huh?
it's in there.
Yeah, you have to wait for the right day for the sun to hit the target and soften everything up.
Yep, or if I get a buddy to come over and shoot, then get another hand on it. So
there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so you're doing the Pennsylvania one this year. I will be at both. I will be at Tennessee and Pennsylvania. I'm excited to go to the Tennessee one just because never been to it. I think it's going to be cool. We got a good team. We're running a little bit heavier this year, I would say, as far as staffing goes, right? Because my goal is whenever we go to these events, we want to be able to shoot them too.
Right. And
it was hard last year getting away to go from the booth in order to go and actually shoot them, right? Because there was only 3 of us, which kind of sucks whenever you're lone man in the booth and there's tons of people coming through and you're building arrows, trying to run cards and stuff like that. So this year we're taking 4 guys to each of the event, so we can break up in 2-man teams so that everyone can split up and kind of do some shooting, which should make it more fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got a little bummed last year that I couldn't shoot as much, but I mean, I've been plenty of years and I've had plenty of time on the mountain, so I'm like, you guys go have fun. I want you guys to get the experience too.
Yeah,
so
which we appreciate, man. Yeah. Which that's what I wanted to eliminate this year. I wanted everyone to be able to go and get the full experience of, 1, shoot the courses, but 2, be able to go walk the vendor village and see and talk to everybody because there's there's so much cool stuff to see and do.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes for very long days. I remember, I think it was like the first day after we got done, you guys looked at me and you're like, you okay? You gonna make it? I was like, I'm beat.
Dude, well, it doesn't help that when we go set up in these, because obviously we got a pretty solid staff here, right, at the shop. But we still have to be back to work, right? Because there's constantly things going on. And luckily I can pull enough guys away from the shop that we can go do these things, but we got to get back as soon as we can. So we got to minimize downtime. Well, my idea is we leave at like 3 a.m. We drive 9 to 10 hours. We spend that day setting up the booth, and then we go go to our lodge or wherever we're staying, our Airbnb, and then get ready for the next day. So, I'll give it to the guys that go with us, man. We run them pretty hard. It's a busy 4 to 5 days on minimal sleep, especially that first day. So yeah, it's a lot. And so I'm going to go ahead and say thanks to all the guys that volunteered to come from our shop. We got Brian Kendrick's going this year. The other Zach's going. Chase is going. Joey's coming up to the Tennessee with us, which is going to be cool. So we can get some more cool footage. Yep. It's going to be good, man. But yeah, everyone knows whenever you go to it, expect to, not get as much sleep as you normally do, that especially the first day, man. It's a poke for us. Because Tennessee's what, 9?
Tennessee's like 11 or 12-hour drive.
Well, which is, going to be a bummer.
Yeah.
We're running 2 vehicles too. So Brian's going to drive the truck and trailer. I'm going to drive my car because we have the total of 5 guys, so we won't all fit in the truck. So we'll be convoying up there. Hopefully we'll be able to make good time because I was wrong whenever I looked at it because I thought choosing between Tennessee and West Virginia, I'm like, oh, Tennessee's closer. Way wrong. West Virginia is way closer by like 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I made that mistake. That's my bad.
That's all right.
Yeah. So it's going to be a poke. It'll be a good drive. What's funny too is the drive to Pennsylvania. Last year, remember going up through the mountains, and we're pulling a big truck and trailer, right? So we got a long loaded trailer, a dually that we're driving on. And one of the roads up to Pennsylvania, you go over a single lane bridge that does not look like it's designed to hold a bicycle.
Yes.
And we're pulling a truck and trailer over it. And Brian's sitting in the back seat praying.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I do think I remember that bridge. And sure enough, yeah, that was good times.
It was interesting. Yeah. We made it though, there and back. The drive back was equally as rough because we drive as soon as it ends on Sunday, we pack up and we head out and we drive the full distance to get back because everyone's got to go to work on Monday.
Yep.
So everybody comes in kind of dragging. I know Brian didn't even go to sleep, and he had to go, work, on base and check in and work. So more power to you, Brian.
Yeah.
Good times. All worth it in the end. It's always a good story, though.
Oh, yeah.
It makes it fun. All right, dude. What about, new guys, anybody that's never been, do you have a piece of advice for them? What's your number one piece of advice to somebody going?
Just go have fun.
Go have fun.
That's really the end goal with it. Go have fun, meet a bunch of cool people, and just have fun.
Yeah, I would agree. And also, my little piece of advice is make sure you have your gear in order. Mm-hmm. And you've already, hinted on it. Make sure your site's confirmed before you get there. And then when you get there, reconfirm it.
Right.
I think it's important. You'll have a much better time because you can quickly, crush your confidence whenever you go out there and you start missing targets right away. And because you're having an issue with your bow. So I would do my due diligence prior, make sure everything's ready to roll. And everything's sighted in and checked in correctly. The bow's up and running so that if you're missing, it's you and not the equipment. Cause that's the worst, man. You go out there and turns out the bow is, having issues. What are you going to do to fix that? Cause we don't have a press out there. We're not working on bows out there. I don't know if anybody was out there working on bows.
I think last year there were a couple vendors that had setups for it. Even the Lancaster Archery, they had a press and stuff too. So
okay.
Worst case, you could always get up to those guys, but we can always take a look at it too and see.
Yeah, do what we can. Because you actually had to reserve some center serving or something while you were there.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that was actually the guys that came down in the shop.
Yeah. No, that's right. That makes sense. Because we did see, man, one of the things that we saw was there was a handful of blown up bows.
There was.
So when you're on the course, make sure you take your time and you're aware of what you're doing. It's real easy to get in. You're with a new group. You're talking to some guys or some girls, and you're not paying attention to what you're doing. And you're on course one. You're there for 3 days, and you blow your bow up.
That's why I like the guys that put on the back of the riser arrow or something like that. And some kind of reminder.
That's a really good idea.
Doesn't hurt to put it on there.
That does not, man. That's a good idea. I would tape that up on the back of the riser. Check your arrow or, knock an arrow, something like that.
Yeah, Mr. Doug has something on there.
Well, Mr. Doug did it twice.
Yeah.
Not at TAC, though.
Right. Yeah, here in the shop.
Yeah, here in the shop and at, I think, one of our 3D events here.
I don't remember that, but I know it was definitely in the shop for sure. He did.
Was it? Yeah. And they were like back to back, though, weren't they? We're within like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Doug. Yeah. He just had, went through a little bit of surgery, getting some heart valves. Yeah. Fixed or replaced, and he's doing good now. So he's out of surgery. So we're looking forward to seeing him. Do you know if he's going this year? Oh, he can't. There's no way he can now.
You can't shoot a bow until I think September.
Gosh, that's a bummer, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times, man. Well, what else you got? Anything else that people need to consider? Any tips and advice for the Total Archery Challenge?
I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah.
It's like we've said before, it's a great time, great way to meet new people. And just have a fun experience.
I agree. If you're on the fence about doing it, I would highly encourage you, go check it out. It's unlike anything you've done. It's just unique. It's fun. It's huge. There's all different courses. You're going to meet all different people, all different experiences level. You don't have to be a great bow hunter or archer to go out to these things to have a good time. And then it's cool too, man. You get to go and see all the latest and greatest stuff. Talk to people that you follow on social media. That's the great thing about it, is it brings the community together in one place. And you can meet, we've all got a lot of friends that we meet virtually via our social channels. These guys end up going to these events. So it's really cool to shake hands, put a face to a name, and make some lifelong friends that, potential to have some connections future for, maybe hunting trips and stuff.
Absolutely.
It's good, man. Network building, camaraderie. It's a great event.
Yeah. And it's not overly expensive to go either. It's only like $60 a day to shoot. And then, obviously you just got to find lodging. So you got a couple of buddies, split an Airbnb, a couple $100, you have a fun weekend.
That's exactly what we do. And you're right, man. And the cost is it's not bad for what you get. I mean, it's a full, I don't even know how else to explain it. Just a full experience.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Awesome, man. Good times. Well, JR, it's about that time. We've got to get this shop opened up. I want to do a quick one this morning with you. Like I said, recapping Total Archery event and kind of giving some advice to new guys that are going out there and checking it out. If you're interested in following JR's got his social stuff. I'm sure you can check him out. What's your Instagram?
I think it's just JR_Gettler.
That's
super easy.
Well, way easier. And you'll find him on, our Extreme Outfitters social stuff too. He's on there quite a bit. You'll see him on all of our YouTube stuff as well. So if you want to follow along with him, you got questions for him, you can always reach out to him on his social channels, or you can obviously call the shop here and ask for JR, and you will get on the phone with JR.
Yep, I'm here almost every day, it feels like.
Yep, a wealth of knowledge, man. So good times, man. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
The Archery Project, officially named.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too, man. It's cool. We got a lot of big ideas for it. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the episode, make sure you guys follow along. We are on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on YouTube. If you want to watch the video podcast, head over to the YouTube under the Archery Project. We are everywhere. That's our goal, right? Provide good information, talk to unique individuals with all different experiences and backgrounds in the bow hunting and archery world. That's what this project or this podcast is all about. So again, JR, I just want to say thanks for taking the time to come and sit down with me before we start working this morning.
Yep, absolutely. Sorry I was late.
Oh man, yeah, we'll let it slide. But that's it, guys. That's a wrap for the episode on the Total Archery Challenge with JR. Again, appreciate you guys, and we will talk to you guys in the next episode of the Archery Project.